Hey, what's up? My name is Chris, and welcome to Coding in Public. Since I'm not able to do a live today, I wanted to just do some live coding. So I've got this project by WebDev Daily that we're just going to walk through as if it was a live stream. So feel free to leave comments if you want to. It's going to be a very basic project, and I want to set it up with Tailwind and Astro. So if you're new to Astro or Tailwind, hopefully this will be a help to you as well. All right, so we've got the Figma design here, and there are a couple things to note. First of all, obviously we've got these two sections. I don't actually have a mobile design, so I'm just going to code this from scratch. I haven't thought about it ahead of time. That's kind of how I like to set this stuff up. So let's go ahead and start by just getting the project actually up and running. So we're going to start very basic. I'll come over here, and I'll go ahead and just paste npm create Astro at latest. We'll call this WebDev Daily 404 page. So let's keep this as an empty project. We'll write in TypeScript. That's fine. Sure, we can install dependencies. New Git repository, why not? So let's let this finish and I'll be right back with you. All right, thanks to the magic of editing, you don't have to watch that live, but now we should be set to go. So let's go ahead and cd into, what's this thing called? Right here, WebDev Daily 404 page. Let's get this up in my code editor. So I've got it up over here. The next thing I want to do is go ahead and add Tailwind. Now, Astro makes this really easy with the npx astro add command, and we're just going to add in Tailwind. What it's going to do is install the packages needed. It'll ask my permission first, and it has it. And then once it's done with that, it's going to update my config, and that way it works automatically. So it'll create a Tailwind file, update the config, and we're set and ready to go. So let's npm run dev to get this back up and running. And then now we've got this right here. And if I pull this over this way, we should be able to access it as well at localhost 4321. So right here, we've got Astro. Let's see, pulling up right over here. Perfect. All right, now the next thing I want to do is kind of figure out how I want to scaffold this out. Since I've just got this single page right here, normally I'd have some kind of layout. What you can do is have slots. So if I had a layout, I could just slot all the component stuff in here. But since this is a simple single page, let's just leave it right there. Now notice it sets up the Tailwind config automatically. So I've got this set here, and it's being used already in the project. I don't have to do anything else. Another really nice thing about Astro is that CLI sets all this stuff up for you. Okay, so with that said, let's come back over here and just kind of think through what we need. So I need this image. We're going to pull this in just a second. Maybe I can just copy it to start with. And then you'll see that I've got a couple other things up here. Looks like some text in the middle and this down here. Now, this is urbanist and urbanist. I'm guessing all these are urbanists maybe. And then this doesn't look like that though. Yeah, it's enter. So we'll just copy this as an SVG in a second as well. So right now, let's go ahead and come over here, and I'm going to create an assets folder just to keep track of that image. And then inside here is where we'll paste that image. All right, there we go. We've got the background image pulled in here. So the first thing I want to do is come over here and go ahead and get this in the project. So we'll have the external area, that's that blue area, and then inside we'll have the image and everything else. So right now we're going to set this up as if it's like desktop and mobile. So I'll have for mobile, I'll have that up top and then the text down below. I'll just kind of make up what the mobile design should look like. Since it didn't tell me, I guess I get to do whatever I want. So let's come over here and I'm going to pull in the image. There's a couple different things we can do. I'm going to use Astro's image component to get some niceties kind of out of the box. So let's just come up here. We've got background image. We'll pull this in from, let's go up to assets, and then we'll come in here to a PNG background. So if I import it, now I can use Astro's image component. Essentially, this is just a wrapper for the HTML image tag. However, again, I get some help out of the box. So if I pull this in from the Astro assets, I can pass it an src, and this should be the imported image. And then I should probably close that tag out. We also need an alt by default, and it should actually get my image height and width from the image itself. Now, just by doing that, if I open over here to the network tab, let's pull this open and refresh, you'll notice that it's done some stuff to the image. By default, it was a PNG, but notice here that it's converted it to a WebP. So it's made it smaller, it's done that all automatically, and I can, of course, set the width and height and a couple other things if I want. For instance, I could set a format here, and I could set this to like avif instead if I want to manually do that. And look here, it pulls that in, and now we're down to 49.3 kilobytes. So that's another option of what we can do. All right, so let's go ahead and close this down. We've got this at least set up over here. Now we do have some other options like sizes and things like that. I'm not going to get into that for the sake of this tutorial. But what I'd like to do is put this all inside of a card component. So we've got the card, and on the left side or in mobile on the top side, it's going to have that image, and on the bottom on mobile or on the right on desktop, it'll have all that text. So let's just go ahead and wrap this. I'm going to wrap this in something called card. Now, obviously, right now, this doesn't exist. So let's go ahead and create this. And in Astro, you can create these little components right over here, like this. It doesn't have to be in a components directory, but that's what I typically do. And we'll do card.astro. Now, just like any HTML tag, you can pull this in with that card syntax, right? So let's go ahead and call this, I don't know, we'll just make it a div for now. And then I'm going to put the image inside of here. So let's extract a lot of what we've already done. So let's grab this right here. I'm going to drop this inside here and then back over here, grab both of these actually. We're going to need both of these and we'll bring them in over this way. Now I've got this top syntax area. And if you're not familiar with Astro, this is essentially only ever run on the build or server side. Everything down here is what's outputted as HTML. So we've got that. I'm going to save that and I'll come back over this way. And now I should be able to import my card. Hopefully it'll also stop yelling at me. And I don't see it pulling in automatically, which sometimes can happen with the dev server. So what I'm going to do is come up top here and just import it. So we'll say import card. These are default exports from. We'll go up to components and then I'll look at my card.astro. So now I'm importing the card itself and notice that it just dumps in all that card content. So let's close that down and come back over this way and think about the other things we need. So I'm going to have another section over here and I'm going to set this up with a grid parent. You can do this with Flex if you prefer as well, but this is what I'm going to do. And then we'll do align between, let's see, baseline, top, middle. That's not what I need. I need justify between, maybe. Actually, maybe I'm talking myself into Flex. So we'll do Flex and then direction, Flex, direction. I forget what the Tailwind thing is. So for right now, let's just leave it there. And I'll pull in the other content and we'll figure that out. All right, so back over here, let's go ahead and copy this. And I should be able to copy this as an SVG. So I'll pull that in here as well. Oh boy. All right, now it's time to use one of my other favorite packages for Astro Icon. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to create a SRC folder called icons. And it's going to look inside here for any SVGs. So here we're just going to call this like logo.svg. And I'll paste in all that code. Get out of here. And now we're going to pull it in directly here. So Astro icon needs to be installed. Let's go ahead and do that. npx astro add Astro icon. This not only like simplifies your icons or makes them more performant, but it also adds them all in a single sprite. So you have one download and then it just picks off the sections you need. And the easiest way to do this is to just use it locally like I'm done right here. So npm run dev. Let's get this back up and running. All right. There we go. Let's go ahead and pull in icon from Astro icon if it wants to. Let's see. Let's reload Astro. Let's see, Console Ninja, where are we at? Reload window, that's what I want. Sometimes I have to do this with Astro, I'm not sure why. I probably just have too many extensions that's installed, but there we go, Astro icon components. That's what we're gonna pull on, and we pass it a name property where we give it the name of our SVG. In this case, that happens to be logo. I'm also gonna pass it a size. You can see it's pulled in right down here, but let's pass in a size, and this would give it like a height and width. So since they're different, I guess I should pull that in according to the actual logo. So let's come over here. We've got 128 and 24. So for the width, we're going to say 24. For the height, nope, 24. This is where we're going to say 128. All right, so now I'm actually pulling that in according to the size it should be. Whether that's the actual size here, 128, 24, yeah, that's fine. All right, so now we've got that set up. Let's go ahead and pull this stuff in. I've got some colors I need to pull in, so let's do that next. See this right here and this right here. So we've got a dark color and this beige color. So let's go ahead and update our Tailwind config file right over here. And the colors, we'll have several here. So what should I call this thing? We'll call it like background, I guess, or something like that. And that will be one of those colors, whatever one that is. And then we'll call this text. And this will be the other color, which is right here. Okay. So now we should have both of those pulled in. So I can use the background text color for everything. So let's do that. Right here, we're going to grab this whole section and say BG background. And that should pull that in. And then let's see, I guess we should have text probably on the body. But we're just going to call it text. So text is the declaration. Text is the name. That could probably be clear, but hopefully that makes sense. All right, now, the way they've got this set up, I don't actually have this background color on the site. I'm guessing I probably want this. So let's pull this in as well. We'll call this something like accent. So let's open back up our Tailwind and come in here with accent and pull this in. All right, so finally, I'll come back to my index page and we're just going to add this as the background of the body. So we'll say background accent like that. And then why don't we put everything in the middle? That seems to make sense to me. So we'll say grid place items center. So that's a grid declaration with place item center. And then I probably want to have some kind of, let's see, let's set the container on this as well. So there's like a max width and height and all that kind of stuff. With Tailwind, I typically like to come over here and extend the container and change this, because by default, all it does is essentially set a width, a max width. But a lot of times in CSS frameworks, you can add like padding on the side. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll see like 2 rem. And then you can also say whether or not that should center it as well, or if you have to do like MX auto. And so I think I'll do that as well. Padding is just left and right, by the way, so we'd still need to add that top and bottom. So let's do that like that. Okay, cool. So now we've got that set up. Let's come back over to the card, and I want to think through what we need right here. So obviously I don't have a mobile design, so I'm going to want to set this up probably by starting with adding like a max height on the image here. So let's do that. So let's come over here. I'll say class, and I'm going to do max height. I'll do like 1/2. Isn't there like a 1/2? Let's check. No? All right. Full screen height. Nope. Okay. Well, we can just arbitrarily set this in Tailwind like this. So we say like 50 view height or something like that. And then once we get to small, we'll just say max height is full. I think that'll work. Let's make this bigger and see. Yeah. Oh boy. Okay. That'll work for us. Maybe we should say the max height should be screen, and that way it can't be bigger than the screen. So yeah, it's a little awkward and squished, but you get the idea. So maybe we can also set the object fit here, or object cover here. And that way, as we get bigger, it shouldn't stretch weirdly. So that'll work. Okay, cool. What else do we need? I also want to set some padding on this section. I'm not sure if we got this here or not. Looks like 32 maybe. Same thing here. Oh, 23. Interesting. Well, we're going to be consistent because we're that kind of people. So let's come in here to like 4, 8. I think that's right. Padding 8 all the way around. Cool. We got that. We should also, I would set this up with, I think I said I was going to do flex, right? We'll make this a grid container and we'll space this out. Yeah. Let's do that. So justify between. Let's actually get other stuff in here so we can see what we're doing. So we'll have this inner section here. This will be a grid. And right now I'll just say like hi. And then here we've got the bottom section, which was error code 404. Excellent. So we'll say error code 404. Is that right? Yeah. All right. So over here, you see they're spaced out this way. So in order to make them the opposite direction, so not the default flex, we'll change the flex direction. Here's what I was struggling with earlier, to call. All right. Look at us doing things. Let's also do align center or something. Align center items center. I think that was the one I was looking for. Okay, so now they're all spaced out like that. Let's also do some like gap by default. So we'll do gap, not page 8 to space those out. Okay, cool. Now we do need to go ahead and pull in our typography, and I don't remember what that thing was called. Urbanist. All right, let's check to see. We've got black, book. Oh no. Black, medium, and black, and regular. Okay, so medium, black, and regular. So let's come back over here. And there's a couple different ways we could pull this in. I think right now I'm just going to come to the index and we'll just add this as an HTML declaration. So let's come into our fonts and we'll do Urbanist. I'm assuming it's in here. Yeah. So we'll select 400 black and medium. Is that right? And then let's copy the HTML link. This is just a little extension in Raycast to make this quicker so I don't have to go like a cave person to fonts.google.com. Let's see, we've got that Urbanist right here. So let's go ahead and redeclare or like extend the config over here. So we'll say font family. And I never remember how this one goes. So I think it's like sans something. Oh man, now I got to look this up. All right, Tailwind font. I think it can be a couple different things. Wait, right here, maybe. Display body. Okay, so yeah, it's an array. That's right. So sans, this is an array, and we're going to say Urbanist or sans serif. Oops. Sans serif. Is that a thing? System UI. Let's do that. System UI or sans serif or something. Sans serif. This may be totally useless, but sans serif. See, there's the thing. Oh, it's all one string. Interesting. So what is this thing? I always forget. Oh, font feature settings. Wow, that's for fancy people. Okay, well, we're not going to worry about that. Let's just put this all inside the same thing then, I guess. Oh, okay, cool. So it is a string like this, I think. And then we're going to put this at the end, and only that font name needs to be in quotation, or yeah, quotations, I think. Okay, I think that works. Let's see. So let's come over here and kill this and see our creation. This kind of looks like Urbanist. Am I right? That should be what we're pulling in. Urbanist. Booyah. Okay, so let's now copy these in. Oops, you have not discovered a world, whatever that says. Let's come back over here. We'll put this inside here. I'm going to space these things out. We'll check in a second what it's supposed to be. If I remember, probably won't, but that's okay. So we're going to do H1. We'll drop that in there. Okay, cool. This as well. And then we've got a button component. So that'll be nice. We can create one more little component. So we'll grab all that. That should be regular. That should be regular. Let's see. This is regular. This is medium. I apologize. So we'll say class font medium. So that should be slightly bigger. All of this should be text center. So we'll do that as well. And then this will be class font black. Yep. Font size, let's check that out. So we've got 50. All right, let's do like 4XL, 36. That's close enough. I feel good about that. I would probably also do text balance here just to make sure it wraps nicely, tries to split it evenly. And probably on this one, I'd do like text pretty. So same thing, it's just less calculations and it just prevents single orphans is all. So that's what I would do there. Okay, last thing, since I said we were going to check the distance between these two and then probably ignore it because that's different too, isn't it? So that's 48. This is nothing. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to have this in its own little section. This will just be a div. Then down here, 48. What is gap 48? Not that. Oh, get out of here. 12. Look at us. Okay, so the last thing we want to do is have a little button component down this way, and then we're going to call this thing mostly done. I guess I probably also need to make it actually look the way it's supposed to on desktop, so we should do that too. Maybe let's do that before I forget. So right now, these things are just stacked. So what we're going to do is set this as flex. Do I want to do that? Yeah, probably. All right, so we'll do flex. Call. Flex. Call. Yeah. And on small or maybe medium, we'll do flex row. That should work, I think. Maybe we should make sure the size never gets too big either. So I think what we're going to do is say basis. So this is flex basis will be like 1/2. 1/3. Oh, interesting. Should only take a 33% at the parent. It's definitely kind of doing whatever it wants. So maybe let's just make this, since we don't actually have like a true thing, let's just do it like this. And there we go. We'll say this is also on large. I feel great about that. I hope you feel good about that too. Okay, so we'll call that good. Last thing then is just going to be the button. So let's go ahead and declare another little component. We'll come in here for button.astro. Usually I'd build out like a really robust button component, but I think we should be good here. This is probably actually a link anyhow. So maybe we should change it to like link or Astro link or something like that. All right, so we'll do that and we'll pass in a couple things. So we're going to want to get from the props that are passed in an href, and I'll probably just have the text like it wrapping whatever, so that way we can include icons or whatever later if we want to. So for now, I think that's actually all I'll do. Equals astro.props, astro.props. And then we'll also have, let's just spread in the rest. And I can go ahead and use a type declaration here. So let's have this, first of all, be the href right here. And then we'll just spread in the rest like this. And this rest will be defined by the type it is, which we'll set in just a second. So here, what do we want to do? Well, here we want to have a slot where we can add in anything else. So that was the slot I was talking about earlier. And then up top here, let's go ahead and do, let's see, interface, extends. Let's see if I can do this from scratch. HTML attributes. Not going to help me out at all. Interface. No, it's just interface. Extends. HTML attributes. I know this is correct. All right, let's check it out. Let's come over here. Astro, I don't think I spelled that right, nor did I spell Astro right. Who cares? Google knows. All right, Astro syntax. HTML attributes. Okay. Right here. HTML. There we go. Interface props. Oh, I have to name it. Details. Props extends HTML attributes. Okay. So it was my fault. It's happened. Let's come in here. We'll have an href that we make sure is there. It's a string. And then I actually don't need to pass anything else. So this knows that it's an href. So that means I can pass in like an ID or things like that that pertain to an actual anchor tag. And I get some nice type safety here if you happen to be using TypeScript. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and pull that in over here. So right down here, we get Astro link. And because we have a slot, I want to make sure I have a starting and an ending tag. And what we want it to say is something like go to home. So let's say go to home. Cool. All right. And then for the href, because it's required, it's yelling at us. And this will just be back to the home. Okay, we are so close. I can taste it. I kind of feel like this thing right here, we should make this bigger just to make sure those are separated properly. Maybe this should actually even be bigger than that. So that way, yeah, we've got a gap here, a gap there. This looks too close. So even though it said there was none, there's probably some like line height or something we've got to pay attention to. Or we could just do that and call it a day. So let's come back over here to our Astro link. We're going to have the class like this. So the background here will be my text. The text will be my background, which is the least confusing thing I've said in a while. Over here, so because this is a grid child or a flex child, I don't remember which it is, it's going to naturally take up the full width. So there's a couple ways to fix this or kind of make it just take up the size it needs. The one I like the best is fit content, and that way it only takes up the space it needs and no more. Except that's not how you do fit content. You do max width fit in Tailwind. All right, there we go. Now it will be in the middle, so I can make the parent do that. That's probably what I would do in this case. So let's come back over here to this section. We'll just do like place items center to keep everything in the middle. And then let's go ahead and add some padding and stuff. So let's see what we got here. We've got 8, 40, and 18. Interesting. Okay. So we'll say PY 5, 4.5. Is that a thing? Just 4. How about that? PX of 12, 10. Okay, cool. So that's pretty close. We also need to make sure that this font is medium, I think as well. All right. Now that looks black for sure. All right, so let's do that. Black, uppercase. I don't know if it has letter spacing at all. Doesn't look like it. Kind of looks like it needs it. Kerning. I can never remember what that's called. Spacing. Letter spacing in Tailwind. What is that thing called? Tracking. Thank you. Tracking. Wide. So much better. All right, let's add a couple of style things to this, even though we don't have this in the design. So we're going to say that when you focus it, so when you come in here and you do that, it won't have that nasty blue. We're going to just say outline none, or you can do transparent as well. That's better for accessibility. And then focus visible. What that allows is like if they have like high contrast turned on, it doesn't override that. We'll do ring 4. A ring will be my text color. Ring offset will be 2. This is going to set a box shadow around it when it's focused. Let's see, ring offset color should be my background. Let's see what that looks like. Wow, that looks horrible. Okay, let's try again. Ring 4, ring offset 2. I would think it's actually still setting a color somehow. Oh yeah, it is. Interesting. Ring offset, ring off it. There we go, so much better. Let's do a transition on the transform property. What? Shadow property? Oh yeah, there we go. See, isn't that nice? All right, now let's do one last thing where we have a hover state. So we'll say hover opacity of like, I don't know, 80. And let's actually just make this transition on everything. And that way, if I hover, you get this nice little effect. If I focus, we go there. So there we go. If we can get my mugshot out of the way, it looks good there. Over here, this looks pretty close to this final version. I guess we could make it half if we wanted to. I think I set the basis to 1/3 or something like that, but I think that looks pretty good. So there we go. We can go home, and we've got it all set up right here to work for us. Probably, I guess one thing we want to do is set this. Let me come over here. Let's set the entire card height. So here we've got this set here. Let's just say max. What else do I have here? Is there like an auto option? Fit, screen, full. All right, so what we're going to do is come back to the index page and set a max height here. So we'll say max height of screen, and that way it kind of always stays in the middle. Oh boy, did we ever ruin everything. Let's come back over here and see what we did wrong. So max height screen, yeah. Card, max height full. How did I mess that up? Interesting. So I should be taking up 100% of its parent. All right. I guess we could just do screen here too. That's not going to hurt anything. I just wanted this thing up top to be like that. Well, hopefully that was a help for you. I'll throw the code up online if you want. Hopefully you like these kind of casual walkthroughs. I just think it's helpful to kind of talk through the code quickly. And if you're new to Astro and understand Tailwind, hopefully this quick pace was helpful for you. If you're new to both, it probably wasn't. In that case, I'm sorry. Check out some of my other videos. But I hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you in the next one. Happy coding.